Namaste. I'm Ruchira Gupta and I want to welcome you to the Apne Aap celebration of the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons set up by the United Nations in the global struggle to end the sale of human beings. Today, July 30th, is marked by organizations, survivors of trafficking, and those who believe in a world in which no human being should be bought or sold as a special day to remember that our struggle to create this world continues. I want you to join my team at Apne Aap to see what we have done and what we are doing to end sex trafficking. The team has Anika Kothari, Anusha, Mabel, Ida, and of course Nicole, who you know already. All of us together have put up a special program for you to see what Apne Aap does and the Grassroots to end sex trafficking. We have also created a virtual feminist museum. You saw one exhibition last year in our museum. This year, our theme is how technology is used to end sex trafficking. We also have highlighted the work of Apne Aap and how Apne Aap works against all odds to end sex trafficking. As you know, COVID has caused a devastating impact on our world, and the most marginalized have been the most hit. You know that women and girls sometimes lost their homes, many lost their livelihoods, children lost access to schools. Apne Aap has made sure that the children in Apne Aap's red light areas are definitely going to school. We support them to go into boarding schools. You will hear something about that. We have also made sure that our women get access to food and do not starve to death. And we have done that through our 1 million meals food campaign. We have created human chains to make sure that from the factory owner, we get food into every last girl inside the brothels. You will see all this and more when the Apne Aap team now will present what they are doing. Over to the team that is going to present the Feminist Museum.
Hi everyone, my name's Annika and I'm an intern at Apne Aap International.
And I'm Anusha and I'm also an intern at Apne Aap International.
We're here today to showcase the annual virtual museum we host in recognition of
the UN's World Day Against Trafficking in Persons.
So let's go. Once again, welcome to the 2022 Annual Feminist Museum. So
we can begin by describing who we are as Apne Aap. And Apne Aap is a grassroots movement to end sex trafficking. Our vision is a world in which no woman or girl is bought or sold, and our mission is to end sex trafficking.
What do? We dismantle the system of prostitution by one, increasing choices for the last girls and women, so that is the most weakest and marginalized woman in our society. And second, deterring the purchase of sex through policy and social change.
So what is this day that we are recognizing today? The day we are recognizing is July 30th, which is World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. And this year's theme is the use and abuse of technology, which is referring to technology's role in perpetuating and deterring human trafficking. And then with the COVID-19 pandemic going on, it is especially important to recognize and be informed on technology's role in human trafficking.
So you may ask, who is the founder of our organization? Our founder is right here. Ruchira Gupta is the founder and president of Apne Aap and has been working for over 3 decades to establish a world in which no human being is being bought or sold. So let's move on to our first exhibition. These are the 10 assets. This is our goal for every woman or girl that joins the Apne Aap network. So when a girl is enrolled in this network, she gains these 10 assets over a period of 3 to 5 years. First off,
our first asset is creating safe spaces for these girls. And these can include community centers, hostels, shelters, providing land, and also other low-cost housing opportunities.
And also, we provide collective self-actions group because oftentimes these girls can come out feeling very isolated and alone. So Apne Aap provides these girls with a sense of community and generates networking among them. The last girl scales up the work by campaigning individually and collectively for changes in laws and policies that affect thousands of their sisters amongst them.
The next asset, which is very important, is education. And Apne Aap helps with education through certain establishments, such as high schools, residential schools, colleges, as well as providing health and sexuality awareness education.
Now, what are the next few assets? In order to make these girls self-sufficient, more independent, Apne Aap forges livelihood linkages. They do this by providing vocational skills and business skills, just as the photo you can see right there.
Another thing that is taken away from these girls that Apne Aap hopes to bring back and does bring back to them is self-confidence. And this is wielded through speech, arts, interaction with media, performances, and expression of their own voice.
Now, politics. With every situation, there's politics in some way. So politics manifests basic rights to life and liberty. Therefore, the last girl is enlightened on her political power through filing form petitions, participate in tribunal rallies, interaction with, and also Apne Aap helps them interact with government political authorities.
So the next asset that Apne Aap provides is government subsidies, and these can include low-cost food, healthcare and loans, land, and integrated child development schemes.
Now, again, in order to provide them a legal status, Apne Aap assists the last girl by providing them with government-authorized IDs, such as sometimes they may not even have a birth certificate, passport, ration cards. So what Apne Aap does is provide all of these, as well as voter IDs, SC, ST, and as well as OBC certificates.
And along with this, Apne Aap provides legal support, which can include escorting girls to file police complaints and legal training on rights. And to create choice other than prostitution, the last girls are also taught the concept of savings and loan by incorporating their names into post office accounts, bank accounts, and savings groups.
So you may ask, what is the last girl? What does last girl mean? So let's move on to our next exhibition. Now, here's a poem that one of our interns wrote to showcase the suffers and the struggles that the last girl can go through. So the last girl is the story of what happened to India's most vulnerable during the COVID-19 pandemic. We were told to stay home. The last girl has no home. We were told to wash our hands. The last girl has no soap or running water. While some people moved to their work online, daily wages workers began to starve. With nothing to sell, the streets closed, their daily wages vanished. Some received government aid to tide them over. The last girl has no bank account, no way of collecting aid.
So news outlets and governments tracked who was getting sick during COVID-19 when it broke out and where the outbreaks were. The last girl was never accounted for during this. Foreign aid poured into India during the brutal second wave. Without a home, a bank account, a registered citizenship, the aid never made it to the last girl.
So a lot of times the last girl is left facing these difficult questions. Like every day she has to make such difficult decisions. It's a story of what it takes to reach the most vulnerable. It documents how difficult it is to actually reach someone with no address, bank account, or even documentation.
So some questions that are faced by the last girl or those associated with the last girl are: which child do you feed? Do you eat, or does your child eat? Will you sell one child so that another can survive?
Here's a personal story from one of the individuals who is part of Apne Aap. My name is Rosanna Arquette. I live in the red light area of Uttari Rampur and Forbesganj. I started my journey with Apne Aap Women Worldwide at the age of 3. That time, I was admitted at Apne Aap in Bal Mandal program. I used to come to the center every day to learn and to read and write. I attended many programs at the center. After 3 years at the community center, Apne Aap enrolled me in the nearby government school for formal education. All of these programs exist to encourage all the adolescent girls. I participated in many of them, and now I feel more empowered and fearless.
So the Apne Aap Community Center organizes various programs, such as the ones that were that the survivor was in, and these can include open mic sessions, legal training, health and gender awareness, red light district story reading and writing sessions, asset training, and exposure visits.
Here's another personal story.
I am Rosina Khatun, 14 years old. I'm in Ram Krishna Vivekananda Mission in Class 8. My mother is a prostituted woman in Munshi-Ganj red light area. As you know, the society doesn't accept prostituted women and their child, but we get total acceptation from Apne Aap. After completing my education, I would like to take admission in art college to develop my artistic sense. In the future, I would like to be an artist and want to establish myself as a famous artist. And I want to take my mother from the red light area and want to keep her in a safer area.
One last story. My name is Bimla Tamang. I'm 45 years old and in Mushiganj in Kolkata. Apne Aap Women Worldwide started an all-women adult literacy program. I'm part of this program. This program targets women living in the red light district of Kolkata. It is aimed at helping women trapped in prostitution to become literate. And that's why Apne Aap started this program in the Mushiganj red light areas.
So now we're going to discuss one of Apne Aap's biggest recent projects during COVID-19, and this is the 1 Million Meals Initiative, which was launched on March 24th, 2020 by Ruchira Gupta as a COVID-19 initiative to ensure food security and other essential needs to excluded young women and children in India.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, young women and girls were most vulnerable to sexual violence and prostitution as they were not able to leave their homes.
And not only were they victim to the most heinous violations, but these young women were also cut off from essential resources such as food, water, sanitary products, medicines, and more.
Children were unable to attend school and continue their education. Therefore, they were left at home.
One million meals would not be possible without the help and generosity of our community mobilizers, support, and donations that directly help save the most vulnerable.
As of 2022, we have been able to provide over 13 million meals and sanitary supplies to more than 530,000 women and children over 8 states of India.
And once again, 1 million meals is our initiative to combat these inequalities that exist for young women and children living in the red light area across India.
Now, let's move on to some images from 1 million meals and other pictures that have been collected from Apne Aap over the years. Welcome to the photo gallery.
Now we're going to focus on this year's theme for World Day Against Trafficking in Persons.
So the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons is observed on July 30th every year by the UN. Trafficking can be simply described as the illegal act of transferring or coercing people to use their labor or service, generally through forced labor or sexual exploitation.
So the theme of this year, which we mentioned earlier, is on how technology can be used as a tool to both facilitate and prevent human trafficking.
So I'll discuss the positive impacts on trafficking. The positive impacts of technology on trafficking is the use of digital tools by law enforcement and other legal aid agencies can ease the situation of victims in criminal proceedings. Another positive impact of technology is that through social media prevention and awareness, campaigning can be conducted. People can read about it, people can learn. It will protect people from being trafficked online. There will be more awareness. And lastly, another positive impact is that collaborating with private sector is important in order to harness innovation and expertise. A sustainable technology-based solution is essential to support the prevention and combating of human trafficking.
So when discussing the negative impacts of technology on trafficking, we can see that human trafficking has taken over the cyberspace as a result of the expansion of technology usage around the world, which has been accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic and the transition of our daily lives to online platforms. And in addition, technology makes it easier for criminals to operate worldwide across nations and avoid being caught.
Now, lastly, we have this reflection wall. These are 3 questions we ask you to read and to reflect. What are 3 words to decide how you feel after viewing this exhibition?
What was the most impactful information you learned from this exhibition?
Which wall of the exhibition stood out to you the most? Here, click on this link or copy and paste this link onto a new tab and share your thoughts and responses. Thank you for visiting.
So hi, my name is Nicole Palmetto, and I'm a student assistant working at Apne Aap.
Hello, my name is Mabel Smith, and I am an intern at Apne Aap.
We would like to present to you the impact of Apne Aap's initiatives over the past year.
Starting with our 1 Million Meals campaign. So 1 Million Meals was launched on March 24th, 2020 by our founder, Ruchira Gupta, during the height of the COVID-19 lockdown. The goal of this initiative is to provide meal kits and other essential supplies to vulnerable communities across India. Ashley Judd, Gloria Steinem, Richa Chadha, Rosanna Arquette, Adil Hussain, Abe Diol, and Michelin star chef Vikas Khanna are among the many individuals supporting our campaign. Time Magazine, The Guardian UK, The Telegraph, South China Morning Post, Scroll, etc. have all featured 1 million meals as well.
We've distributed 130,819 ration kits containing over 13,081,900 meals to 130,819 families, which went to a total of 539,593 people. This includes 156,500 vulnerable women, 273,243 children, and 127,584 men. In addition to feeding over 539,000 people, Apne Aap has distributed 253,200 sanitary pads to date. With the help of our volunteers, 27 partner NGOs, and generous donors, the original goal of 1 million meals has surpassed to 13 million.
In addition to feeding vulnerable communities, Apne Aap provides education classes, art classes, and karate classes at our center in Bihar to over 50 children. Education classes include Hindi, English, math, social studies, and science.
Our partnership with the Aga Khan Foundation has helped us educate 518 preschool children, enroll 241 children in library classes, and 243 children in nutrition programs. We also support many girls' goals of attending college, taking classes to begin a business, and technology classes.
Now I'm going to share a story of one of the many children who attend Apne Aap's education classes. Noreen joined the Apne Aap Center 5 years ago and has learned a lot of various skills. Noreen wanted to continue studying to make her family proud, but financial issues came up for her that almost prevented her from studying. Luckily, her mother managed to help relieve that financial stress. But people in Noreen's community tried to convince her parents to stop her from studying and instead have her learn how to cook, But Noreen didn't let people's opinions get in the way of her dreams. She continued her education and followed her dreams. Noreen wishes to become a doctor to help aid her community and to inspire young women just like her.
Thank you for listening to our Impact of Apne Aap's initiatives over this past year. We ask you to join us in our commitment to working towards a world in which no one is bought or sold. Donation links are found on our website, apneaap.org. Thank you.
How long will you play with our soul, body, and mind? With balloons, fancy toys, and fake reasons of joy? I know what you can do with your thoughts wicked and wild. You snatch away our youth, knowing that we are child. Power doesn't come from gender, race, and caste. It emerges within, choosing what is just. Beware, you people, for time does not stand this still. There will come a day when freedom will prevail.
So, hello. Today we're here with Rosanna Arquette. Some of you may know her from Desperately Seeking Susan, fiction, and also long-time activism work. I'm Mabel Smith, an intern at Apne Aap. So the first question we wanted to start with was, what has been your experience being involved in activism and your story, essentially?
Well, really, I grew up in a family of activists. My mother, my parents were activists, so I have many wonderful memories growing up with them. And when my mother was very involved in the anti-war Vietnam War movement, and so she was involved with a lot of, putting together what they called love-ins, peace-ins for protests. In the time when protest was really very peaceful and beautiful and okay. Well, she was also, it was very violent then too, civil rights movement, very involved. She was involved with the Rainbow Coalition in Chicago, which was Fred Hampton's group of wonderful human beings that all came together to help the community. So that was just the way I was raised, and all of us. So my whole family are activists, and more than ever we need young people like you both who are activists, because you're the next generation, and you're here interning for Ruchira Gupta for Apne Aap.
Yes.
And that's a wonderful organization, as you know, what she's doing in the world to combat sex slavery in the world.
And can you tell us a little bit about what you've been a part of specifically?
Oh my gosh. There's so many things, but I am super supportive and involved with, Apne Aap in that the work that Ruchira Gupta does in the world and combating sex trafficking around the world is so important to me personally. But I'm involved with the violence intervention program down in downtown Los Angeles. Dr. Astrid Hagar, she created the forensic rape kit, and she's a child abuse doctor. And she saw all the abuse that was going on in the world with children coming to her being sexually abused. And she said, this is a problem. And it woke her up, so she started a clinic in downtown Los Angeles at USC Medical Center, and it's grown quite a bit. And in that clinic now, we together have the Alexis Project, which is for the LGBTQ community of kids who are thrown out in the street because they're gay, and more than ever do we need this clinic.
What has been like the most pivotal moment that you're like, okay, this is where I've made my impact?
I don't know if I don't think that.
Okay, one moment
I don't.
where it was
I don't think I've made it.
Like it was like a trigger clause, or there's something like, okay, like this is starting a move, this is starting a change, something like that.
I mean, I'm really great friend of mine the other day said to me, Catherine Keener, she's an actress, and she said, you know, it's your sense of injustice. When things are unjust, you can't handle it. It's like it's like that is the thing that fuels me, is seeing all this horrible injustice everywhere in our country, in our world. And it keeps me up at night.
What message would you say to young people, the new generation coming in, who want to start their own work in activism? What's your message to them?
Well, first, find what feels really important to you. Like, what is that you feel? It could be, you know, that you can make a difference in other people's life. How could that be? You know, what is it in you that, like, you know, it could be starting in your own community. You know, like that's the thing. Like everybody has a community, and maybe just starting there in your own community, volunteering, something, you know, and that grows like a seed and becomes a beautiful garden. The gardens that Ruchira paints.
Exactly. Yeah, that's beautiful.
So thank you everyone for taking the time to be here with us today. I would like to thank Ruchira Gupta, Aida Pajanen, Nicole Palmetto, Anika Kothari, Anusha Agarwal, Mabel Smith, and Banthali Das for their extensive work on the museum. Lastly, I'd like to thank Sritoma Bose for her beautiful poetry.
Join our struggle to end sex trafficking. Go to our website, apneaap.org. Follow us on Instagram, #ApneAap. Follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, same #ApneAap, and learn and work with us. Thank you. Namaste.